Senator Schmitt.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And my friend from Illinois would agree. I certainly don't want to. I don't want to see us reduce standards. I guess, in following in that same spirit, with Mr. Rochlow, can you commit that no hiring decisions will be made based on race?
Yes, sir. Again, we're looking for the best and the brightest, and we're prioritizing those who are best qualified.
Because, as you know, there's a lawsuit by about 1,000 folks who are claiming that they didn't get a job because of their race, the FAA.
We're all about
Yeah.
making sure the best and the brightest are there, and we do that through a testing mechanism.
That's great to hear. I did want to ask, General, and again, I apologize if this has been asked before. They're running us in and out of here, different committee hearings, armed services. I did want to ask, this was a very strong crew in the Black Hawk. Is it typical, or I guess, is it a problem? Is it typical and is it a problem to have someone who was a lower rank as this is my understanding, that the evaluator was a lower rank than the pilot? Is that a typical situation? Is that problematic? Is that not a problem? Do you think it contributed in any way? I just wanted to get your assessment.
Thank you, Senator, for the question. It is extremely typical in Army aviation because the preponderance of our force are our warrant officers, and they are professional aviators. That's what they do for their entire career. And so they are our instructor pilots, our maintenance test pilots, our safety officers, and our commissioned officers fill roles of leadership within the organization. So it's a very routine to have a senior member being evaluated by a junior member.
Okay, so I'm sure you've gone through this analysis, and I just feel like in the spirit of making sure we're getting this right moving forward, that you don't think there's a systemic problem associated with maybe somebody with a lower rank saying something to somebody of a higher rank in those kind of situations. You've went through that analysis, I'm assuming.
Absolutely, and that is certainly the personalities of crew members and capabilities is something that is considered in that risk brief process for every single flight. Is it the right crew? Is the crew mixed properly? Commanders would know if there's issues with simple as they don't get along. And commanders would take that into account before approving any flight.
And I guess for the FAA, and again, maybe you've been asked this before, but clearly in the chairman's opening statement and a number of the committee members, just the report, the statistics of the number of near misses between helicopters and aircraft landing at DCA, that, you know, those operations now have been halted. Can you just explain to the American people why that didn't happen before?
So, again, I'll say that the reports that were come in previously were certainly analyzed, but something was missed. And since that time, we've been using new tools available to us, artificial intelligence, machine learning, to be able to scan the tens of millions of data points, to be able to do that analysis in a more proactive and ideally at some point here predictive way to to identify risk earlier and to mitigate that risk.
But this wasn't a new issue at DCA, right? This is an issue that had been a longstanding concern. Is that accurate?
It's accurate. There were a number of reports that came in, and I would say that we've, as I mentioned earlier, we investigate every single near mid-air collision, and even as we talk about spectrum issues, Chairman Cruz mentioned, we have teams that go out and assess the airspace itself, making sure that we're working with partners, whether it's on counter-UAS technology, to make sure that airspace is as clean as possible from interference.
And so moving forward, obviously as a response to the tragedy that happened, and I would be remiss not to express my condolences to the families who are here. I know everyone has, and it's devastating for each and every one of you, including some folks from back home. And so your advocacy does matter, and it will carry beyond today, right? This is important. So I ask in the spirit of that, moving forward then, is that how you see things, that that the state of play as it currently is now will continue?
Yes, sir. We'll continue to use the latest tools we have to be able to assess that data and work with the industry, with the aviation ecosystem, if you will, to identify that risk early and to mitigate that risk immediately.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Schmitt. Mr. Rocheleau, at the moment, whether it's on or off is irrelevant because there's no flights. You're announcing something that doesn't, at the moment, matter because you have not lifted the ban on the flights. Is that true?
So it's helpful to, if I can just point to the graphic. In the graphic, I can explain that in the yellow sectioned area, the graphic there, that is where there is no mixed traffic. No helicopters, no fixed wing, except for those very few circumstances where we have emergency national security type of traffic. In the red section, in that red airspace, is where ADS-B out, so DCA Class B airspace is now required. You'll also notice where, based on the NTSB recommendations, where we've eliminated Route 4 down going north to south on the Potomac, as well as Route 6 that formerly, you can see on the left side of the graphic, was in effect between from the west to the east where Bowling Air Force Base is.
I'll have to think about that.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.